Hey Lotuses, welcome back to my channel. It's Lotus Magic. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to tap in tonight to do a quick read for Mercury retrograde. Actually, I'm doing a post Mercury retrograde reading tonight because I feel like this retrograde has been extremely heavy for a lot of people in the collective. So I'm just hoping to come by and drop some, you know, wisdom and bring some relief because I think this is a hard one. This retrograde is going through Libra, and so we're all being asked to bring balance into our lives. Okay, now in order to do that, in order to understand what's in balance, we have to understand what's out of balance. Okay, and so the things that are bringing us out of balance may be a little bit of a challenge for us to deal with this retrograde. But before I get started with the reading, I just want to do a quick prayer for us. Kingdom come. I want to thank Divine Intelligence for assistance in this reading so that I may deliver the right message to the right person who needs it. I also ask that you bless the ears of all those who receive this message with the right thoughts, right feeling, and right ideas to overcome any obstacles on their path to greatness. So it shall be, and so it is. All right, so it looks like a lot of you guys in the collective have been like asking for help. God help me, angels help me, ancestors help me, whoever you call for help. The universe has heard it. Okay, the universe has heard your silent calls for help. So I don't feel like this is an outwardly suffering. I feel like this is an inward kind of like cry for help. And if you haven't been on the path of your own righteousness and getting close to divine intelligence, this may be a challenging time for you. So I'm seeing a lot of crown chakra energy, but your overall message comes from the angel of support. Okay, and the angel of support understands that you're on a transformation. Okay, and transformations are tough. And you may be hitting one of those dark night of the soul moments, or just overall, with this retrograde coming about and being in Libra, the area of your life, depending on where Libra falls in your astrological chart, depending on what aspect of your life you're looking at, it may be really challenging, but the universe does hear you. Continue to pray. Continue to express to the universe your desires. But what I do suggest is that you're not just whining to the universe. What do you want the universe to do for you? So understand that when you're asking for help and you're asking for help, but you also need to start expressing your desire. Okay, because if all you're doing is talking about your suffering, guess what? That's what you're going to get more of. So acknowledge whatever it is that's, causing you the suffering, but it's also time to focus on your desire. Okay? And that is stating your desire is a prayer. Okay? So if you're praying, it's not so much praying, to praying for, self-pity reasons. It's praying for a particular outcome, for a particular experience, to be lifted from the experience you're in to go into a new experience. So when you're asking for help, understand that your prayers are your desires. So you should be praying for what you're desiring. If you're desiring relief, pray for that. If you're desiring abundance, pray for that. Okay? Meditate on that. Meditate on that outcome so that the universe can then help you by co-inspiring to bring your desires about. Okay? All right. So post retrograde, post Mercury retrograde specifically, because I think we have a few planets in retrograde. So I'm only talking about Mercury. Post Mercury You guys need to be focusing your energy on more compassion, okay? And I'm taking it two ways. More compassion for yourself, for one, especially if you have been doing the work on this journey. But even if you haven't, have a little bit more compassion for yourself. There's no sense in beating yourself up if you're realizing that now you should have been doing something a long time ago and it's causing some stagnation and some suffering, okay? So have some compassion for yourself. Okay, there's no sense in beating yourself up, but also have compassion for others. Okay, with the Libra energy, um, Libra is all about fairness and harmony, but out of balance, Libra can be very critical. So just be mindful, especially during this retrograde, that you're not being overly critical of people and have more compassion because everybody's going through something and not just you. So try to have more balance into the compassion you give to yourself and the compassion that you give to others. It needs to be balanced, okay? Not so much compassion for yourself that you're not giving it to others and now you're being judgmental, and not so compassionate for others that you're not looking at your own needs. So it's just really about finding a balance. Okay, we also got moderation, focusing on moderation. Being, if you're overindulging on anything to relieve your suffering, you need to find some moderation in that. And really, honestly, it's just time to stop, escaping. If you're doing it to just avoid your suffering, it's time to stop doing that and face your fears. And if God is a fear for you, if the divine, whatever you want to call it, I use those words interchangeably. But if that's what you're avoiding, it's time to stop doing that because it's not gonna make your situation change. Okay, so moderation. This is food, sex. This is sacral energy, and understand that, especially if it's sex, it if you're not having sex in the right vibration from a love vibration, you're just messing with your manifestation. Okay, you're clouding your manifestation because your sacral chakra, whether you're a man or a woman, is the place, the energy center in which we create from. And so if you're not in the right energy there, you're going to definitely block some of that manifestation from coming in. Whatever it is that you're desiring, you're blocking it with the emotional instability because the sacral chakra also rules the emotional and our intimacy. All right, by the end of this retrograde, guys, you should have released the indecision. And I thought this was so perfect because it is Libra season. The sun is in Libra and we have the retrograde in Libra. And so I feel like releasing the indecision about your heart's desire, about your deepest desire. And I feel like maybe you're teetering between your sun self, your moon self, but we have the moon here, and the moon, that's our deepest desires. Okay, so I would suggest checking your moon, the house that has your moon in your chart to see where to check your moon sign, because your moon sign is going to give you a little bit more insight on your inner wants and desires and needs, okay? And how those needs need to be met. So this, again, if you're wanting to figure out how to make a decision, you're going to look to your moon. You're going to look to your deepest darkest place, okay? Because it's dark when the moon is out, so your deepest darkest place. And then by the end of this retrograde, and I believe it ends in like a couple of weeks, a week or two, plus we have the shadow, so I'll say mid-October. By mid-October, you should have what you need if you're doing the work You should have what you need to take your next step. Okay. This is the two of staffs. Okay, so the staffs represent like movement and action. Okay, so once you tap in with your own moon, okay, you will get the guidance. Okay, the moon is also your intuition. Okay, and that's why this person is wearing blue. It's your intuition. You should be using your intuition. Okay, you really shouldn't be relying on um, what's going on around you or other people's opinions or other people's thoughts or other people's ideas. You really, right now, it's between you and your higher self. And divine intelligence has everything you need as far as what to do. The right thoughts, the right feelings, the right ideas can come to you. But I feel like you're juggling between one or the other. It's a one or the other, which is very, very Libran energy. Okay, Libras by nature are very indecisive and they can teeter on one side or the other without making any decision. Um, and so with that being said, Libra can also be a little compromising, a little too compromising, and a little too compassionate for others, to the point where they stop sometimes realizing what they want for themselves versus what they want for others. Okay, and so maybe that's where you are trying to figure out what you want for yourself versus what you want for others. But by the end of retrograde, you should be able to, if you're tapping into your intuition and following your intuition, you should be able to take put your foot forward. As you can see, there's one foot forward. You'll be able to take a foot forward and take the right action towards the right decision. All right, post retrograde, you will need to be laser focused. Okay, laser focused. Once you make a decision, once you make that decision, you just need to get focused on doing whatever you need to do to make that manifestation, happen. Okay, only what's in your control though. Okay, because when it comes to the manifestation process or bringing things into fruition, our desires, we don't get involved with the how. We don't get involved with the when. Okay, so don't get caught up in those details. You just need to get laser focused on visualization. That's what I feel like this is. Get laser focused on your visualization. Start visualizing your outcome, visualizing that dollar amount that you want to have in the future. Visualize yourself spending it. Visualize yourself doing the things that you want to do to make that income a reality. So I feel like it's not only getting laser focused in your mind so you can take the proper steps, but getting laser focused in your visualizations. Okay, 15 minutes a day. You should be doing 15 minutes a day. But if that's too long, just try 5 minutes a day of just visualizing the outcome or the experience that you're trying to have. And honestly, if you spend more time doing that, it helps take your mind off of the lack or whatever it is that you're suffering, whatever has you in this mental suffering, because it may not even be in your external circumstances that you're suffering. Your money might be good, you may have a stable home, but there's a mental suffering, and probably it's because you're on this path. Many people are realizing that they are not as awakened as they thought they were. And so that's a big, a blow to the ego if you were, a little bit, imbalanced in your thinking. But, it's one of those things that a lot of people are just realizing they need to do the work, and it's causing the mental suffering. Okay. Because it's God's way of like calling you back in. Okay, because God is for the mind. Okay, so it's God's way of calling you back in. If you are suffering or having any mental afflictions, It's because God is trying to get you to come and release the suffering, for one. But how do you do that? Well, you're going to release the suffering through A, your faith, and two, by properly putting your desires into the ethers, into the universe, like making your request. How, how can the universe bring you what will bring you out of your suffering, your solutions, if you're always focused on the problem? So a lot of you have just been too heavily focused on the problem and not the solutions, mental solutions. And one great solution is just visualizing the opposite of what of the suffering. Okay? If it is money, what's going to bring you out of suffering? Visualize yourself with the money you need to bring you out of your suffering. And even just doing those little things every day will significantly change your situation. All right, so during this retrograde, many of you are on the mini frequency, okay? And I'm going to wrap this reading up because I don't want it to be too long, but I'm just going to wrap it up with these questions for reflection. And I think these are really good questions that this card is asking you to ask yourself. All right. If you're into journaling, you may want to write these down and just do some written reflection, and as well as doing some reflection and reading Psalm 23. That would definitely help to ease your mind. All right. So the first question is, what is the positive intention you have for keeping the negative thing in your life? Because like I said, many of you are teetering between something, either something from the past or future, something good or something bad, or it's just like two varying types of decisions you're having to make a choice about. But one of those choices, may be causing you some mental suffering. You're choosing between your higher vibration or your lower vibration. You're not going to manifest what you need in your lower vibration, unless it is a material thing. But if abundance and prosperity and all those things that encompass way more than money and way more than, material wealth, you're going to need to raise your vibration for. So you're either going to be making the choice to walk the soul walk or remain in that earthly mindset. But I can tell you this, it's the way that the vibration of the earth is changing. It's taking people out of here, so it's about time for people to start working on, their heart, okay? Their heart, their relationships, okay? That's another Libran. Libra is big on relationships and partnerships. So working on your heart, working on relationships, and working on your divine intelligence, that crown chakra, okay? So those are three chakras that might be, of significance during this retrograde: your crown chakra, sacral chakra, and your heart chakra. All right, but back to the question. So, what is the positive intention you have for keeping a negative thing? Okay? Is there any good reason to keep a negative thing in your life? And if you can truly answer yes to that, keep it. But if you know in your heart there is no real good reason, it's time to reevaluate whether it stays or goes. All right? What need is that negative thing meeting? And do you really want to get better? What do you not want other people to know about you? Is that the reason that keeps you from walking that path? Is because walking in authenticity is going to mean that you have to share parts of yourself that may not always be accepted by other people. It's tough. Okay, so what are you trying to hide or deny? All right, and I think this is a good question, especially for Libra, because guys, I mean, it's charming and it's harmonious and all that stuff that Libra is. On the flip side, Libras can be very, very secretive, and not like Scorpio secretive, but just tend to have things that they're hiding if they're not evolved. Okay. So what is it that you're trying to hide or deny? What are you doing that you know you shouldn't be doing? And if you weren't scared, what would you do? Because for a lot of you, it's fear. I have to decide being courageous or fearful. Continue to be fearful or be courageous and do what I said I wanted to do. And if you weren't scared to admit it, what would you admit to yourself that you really want? Okay, again, it's tying back to that moon. I think this card just really clarifies what I was saying here about that moon energy. Your moon is going to lead you to your heart's desire, to your inner desire. Okay, not really your heart's desire, but like your emotional desire. Like, what do you really feel, because that's the moon feeling. What do you really feel is right for you? All right, it's time to awaken to your true selves. Okay, and I really feel like this retrograde has a lot of people realizing that, like the Libra energy, they've been compromising so much of themselves to just get in where they fit in, or for survival reasons, or just doing what society says is the right thing to do, not wanting to cause conflict in their surroundings, with their, within your family, friends, your circle, whatever, not wanting to cause conflict. And that's, very Libran. Like I said, Libras are very harmonious and they seek peace, for things to be peaceful. But sometimes the peace that Libras get on the outside, or the Libra energy, because we all have Libra in our life, affecting our life in some way. And check your chart. So when I say Libra, I'm not just talking about a Libra sun. I'm talking about, anywhere in your chart where this Libra energy lies. Okay, maybe an area where you have conditioned yourself to be a little too compromising, and it's keeping you out of balance, because the opposite of peace is war. So there's never any reason to be, or to seek peace outside of you, that's going to cause a war inside of you. Okay, it's time to balance that out, and you're going to balance that out by understanding what you really want, not what the group wants, not what, your partner. I feel like this is more relationships, and I'm not talking about just like love relationships, but I'm talking about like, partnerships, anything. It could be family, it could be, whatever, just partnerships. Business, it could be anything. Even in business, this may apply for some of you. But I feel like right now it's, partnerships have to be equal, the equal exchange of energy. And as great teacher of mine that I really, really love, Reverend Nigga Daddy, says, fair exchange ain't robbery. And that's where we are. If the energy exchange isn't equal, somebody's getting robbed. And so if this is something that's coming up for you, this retrograde, that means it's time for you to seek your own justice, because Libra is the justice energy. So it's time. If you've been getting robbed of your energy, it's time to seek justice by giving more of that energy to yourself. If you're getting robbed of your time, it's time for you to get justice by bringing the time that you have back to self. If you've been getting robbed of money, and I don't mean just like burglar, I mean, your money's going, like, your money's gone, leaving, for whatever reason. You need to get your justice by being more balanced in the way you spend or share your finances. So this is just, I was trying to keep this like under 15 minutes, but clearly Kingdom came and delivered a longer message. And so I just want to again thank Divine Intelligence for the assistance to deliver this message. It's been a minute since I've been here and I'm trying to get warmed up again. But until next time, love and light.